time to move. It's also time to start this seminar where we'll try to move forward with the important topic of research assessment, career assessment in the transition to open science. So without further ado, and welcome you all again, I will give the floor to Rector of University of Minho, Professor Vieira de Castro, that is here representing the Portuguese Writers' Council of Portugal. Please, Professor Rui.
Thank you very much, Eloy. Good morning to you all. Dear Professor.
You are muted.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
I would suggest I would suggest that the other all others that are not speaking, we can close our cameras while we are not speaking.
So good morning, dear Rector of the Universitat, Politècnica de València, dear participants. I would like, on behalf of the CRUP, to welcome warmly all the participants to this Open Science Seminar, as you know, a joint organization of the National Conference of Rectors of Portugal and Spain, with support of European University Association. Planning this seminar, we had an ambition to have all of you physically present here these days at the University of Minho in Guimarães, but unfortunately this was not possible because of the reasons we all have in mind. Anyway, we managed to organize the seminar, an event we think is essential to reinforce the cooperation among our institutions and our countries. On behalf of CRUP, I'd like to thank the commitment of all those involved in the organization of the seminar, especially the members of the program committee. On May 28 and 29 in 2017 in Vila Real, the Council of Rectors of Portuguese Universities and the Council of Rectors of Spanish Universities approved, and then the following days presented to their governments, an Iberian knowledge and higher education agenda. This happened within the framework of the Portuguese-Spanish Summit that on that occasion brought together the governments of two countries. The agenda aimed to create a true Iberian space for higher education. It emphasized the will of the universities of Spain and Portugal to increase their levels of cooperation and coordination in the fields of scientific research, innovation, and higher education. The first open science seminar held in Madrid in June 2017 aimed to achieve these goals, particularly in the field of open science. I recall that the Iberian agenda included among its measures the strengthening of the position of the Iberian countries in the European research area, namely through the promotion of open access to scientific publications and data, and the cooperation in transition to open science. Research assessment, or more broadly and accurately, career assessment, is being recognized as a central and critical point in this process of transition to open science. We are all aware that career assessment, through evaluation procedures and criteria, shapes the behavior of academic staff, and as a result has a serious impact in universities and in development of scientific systems. Current practices of career assessment are highly focused on publications and indirect metrics. However, it is more and more acknowledged that this approach does not account properly all activities of academic staff. We agree, I'm sure, this same approach does not allow the recognition and the reward of several relevant contributions to research and to scientific field, like data generation, curation and sharing, peer reviewing, and so on. Very often, it does not incentivize cooperation, collaboration, and sharing, and actually becomes a factor of bad practices. In this sense, current career assessment practices may constitute an obstacle on the way to open science. And thus we need to rethink and to reform career assessment, trying to facilitate this way the transition to open science. We need to align our system of incentives and rewards. We need to promote openness, transparency, and collaboration. We have to foster responsible, reproducible, and open science. This issue has been recognized as a critical point by European University Association, namely by the UA Expert Group on Science 2.0 Open Science, which has been producing several relevant documents and organizing or co-organizing important events. Just to remember a few of them, last year, the UA published the roadmap on research assessment in transition to open science, promoted a workshop on research assessment, published the results of a survey on open science and access, and during the current year, UA has already launched the webinar seminars on academic career assessment in transition to open science. Acting this way, UA is providing important services to scientific communities and universities, helping them to make important steps in what we think is the right direction. A growing number of universities and national rector councils are already working and or implementing revised, better, broader, and more inclusive evaluation systems aligned with open science practices, as we will certainly hear today from Ryan Letchert, Rector of Maastricht University. The Portuguese scientific system has undergone important structural changes in recent years, mainly as a result of public policies oriented towards the consolidation of scientific employment. These policies, which are inducing very significant changes in institutions as well as in the scientific system, have raised issues, very important issues, I'd say, related to the scientific career and evaluation of researchers. In the specific case of the University of Minho, this is a particularly critical topic for us today, motivating a lively debate in our community. And the same happens in many other Portuguese universities. For this reason, and allow me to make a note more focused on my own institution, this seminar is especially relevant and particularly timely for us. And as I am sure it will be for all the participants in the seminar. On behalf of CRUP, I wish this event to be an excellent opportunity to deepen our collective knowledge about the challenges and opportunities of open science. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Vieira Castro. And I will now invite Professor Francisco José Mora, Rector of the Universidade Politècnica de València and representing CRUE to give us also the welcome address. Please, good morning.
Good morning, dear Rector of the University of Minho, Professor Vieira, dear colleagues, dear guests, and on behalf of the President of the Spanish Rector Conference, Professor José Carlos Gómez, who can't attend this event as he would like, I express my welcome of CRUE to all of you to this second CRUE Open Science Seminar. The first one we celebrated, as our Rector mentioned, in Madrid, in the University Carlos III. And in this occasion, I think all of us would prefer to attend it in Minho, a very nice city with a very good university. But COVID-19 pandemic has changed many aspects of our lives and obliged us to seek new ways of communication as this one we are using now. The theme and the topic for this seminar, career assessment in the transition to open science, is now in Europe in the main agenda of all national system, public system of education and universities and research assessment also. So it's a hot topic. Firstly, I would like to thank all the organizing committee for selecting this topic and for the great work that they have been done in organizing this seminar. They were overcoming all the difficulties that were appearing because in principle it was a physical seminar, but now we moved to the cloud and they manage it very, very well. I thank also CRUE expert groups and the open science from the European university association. It's true that in science we are experiencing drivers that are at the origin of the open science movement, I would say. The first one is, as the Nature journal cited a few years ago, that most of the scientists of the humankind history are alive, almost 90% of them. If we survey all the history of science, most of them are alive. And this daily and every week, the amount of knowledge, the amount of data is exponential, the growth of that. Fortunately, we have the availability of digital technology to mine this data and to use it and to manage them, to generate knowledge about them. But in this line, the enormous growth of the global science community offer very high opportunities of cooperation. These are drivers of change: growth of data, data mining, and now the enormous growth of cooperation. In fact, nowadays we are facing the challenge of the pandemic with I think is the biggest cooperation in history, in the history of science. People from health systems, engineers, social science, economists, philosophies. So people from different areas, different institutions, countries are collaborating to solve this challenge that we are in face of because of the pandemic. So, and without this collaboration and digital technology, would be impossible to develop this. And another driver of change in science, and also at the base of open science, in the demand from society for transparency, respect of ethics, and they want to be more involved in agenda settings. So open science is growing relevance because we see very important advantages. First one is the faster circulation of new ideas. Open science is moving ideas and new activities and projects around the world. There is no precedence in history around that. Also, better return of research and innovation investment. More support on our ownership in society. Society is pushing more and more in this direction. Mutual respect and understanding, I think, is open science clarifies and the understanding and the respect of the different research groups, and also will help a lot with the scientific misconduct that we have to solve, and with new ethics in this line. And at the CRUE, we created in 2019. It was, okay, the origin was at the end of 2018, but it was created formally in 2019, a special group to foster all these advantages in the open science. Today, we have the chance to discuss about the best path we have to follow in order to progress in career assessment. We have a relevant agenda with a speaker that are at the front line of open science and career assessment. We have to find the path, because it's initially seems not difficult to change this new career assessment, but it have some complexities that we have to analyze in detail, and depending of the national system, the way can be a little bit different. I'm for sure that today we'll learn a lot about some best practices that are working just now, and for sure we'll have a very fruitful seminar. Thank you for your kind attention.